Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of the Siblings and Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Thomas, and these are my buddies, Noah and Donnie. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or this is your first time playing a card game, we're all siblings in cardboard. Guys, Merry Christmas. And right in the sandwich of the Happy New Year. How is everyone's Christmas?
My kids had a great Christmas, therefore I had a great Christmas.
Exactly.
It's all about, seeing them open stuff up on, yesterday at this point. Not yesterday, day before yesterday at this point.
Yep.
And just watching them open everything up and seeing their faces light up. Like, we managed to get a hold of a violin for my oldest daughter because that's the one item that she's been asking about for a while, and we wasn't sure if we'd be able to get her one just because holidays suck. It's just that time of year. Things are always tight, and violins aren't cheap. But
no,
we were able to get that for her, and she immediately broke one of the strings. So,
well, at least the strings aren't too bad, as long as you don't mess up the body.
And that means it's getting a lot of use too.
No. Like, immediately she opened it up, pulled it out of the case, went to her room, called me a few minutes later, just about in tears, going, "Daddy, I broke a string."
Well, at least she didn't get hurt. You could actually get hurt by string breaks on violins because you put it so close to the face. But yeah, we got my daughter a pretty nice electric piano because she wants to learn piano. Nice. But if anything's more expensive than a violin, it's an actual piano.
For sure.
And then Noah got me a box for Christmas between him and another friend of mine.
Yeah. A nice box, a big box.
It's the nesting box for a card game called Wingspan, and it's literally $100 box. There's no game in it. It's just a box to put all the game in, and it's so worth it. Like the best way I could think about it is when you buy the nicer stuff to put all your decks in, right? If you look at that, you're like sitting on like $500 worth of deck boxes, and they don't functionally help you play the game at all. They just keep your cards safe and help you organize.
It was a necessity. You got all the expansions. You want to keep all the pieces together.
Yep. Now I got to hunt for the promo cards and stuff, almost like a real trading card game. Did you get anything cool, Noah?
I mean, Christmas is like year round for me, so I think Christmas was Disneyland in terms of that. Plus, like the Nutcracker and stuff. I went and saw ballet. I had a really nice dinner and stuff. Typical things. We do kind of like that for Christmas. Not really gift giving per se. Though I did find out there's a card shop literally 0.32 miles away from me, which wasn't here the last time I was here.
You almost walked there.
So I was like, well, I guess we gotta go check it out. That's what I told her. I was like, I'm out of Dynasty for Pack Cracks because I just botched another take yesterday. So I literally have no more Dynasty, so I got to go fix that. Considering that Dynasty is my favorite set, and it seems like every card from it is just going up. It's crazy. LSS has done it again. Let me tell you.
It's weird how that happens.
I
mean, James White makes one random comment on Twitter, and the market just goes berserk.
For no reason.
You got to think Berserk comes from Dynasty, and so does another card. There's quite a few Brute cards that actually came out of Dynasty that are now all of a sudden way higher in price than they used to be.
So it sounds like you want to jump right into the market minute, which is fine. But do we? We're gonna be doing it without some context. Do we have anything else we want to talk?
Yeah, let's do the whole Flesh and Blood recap here. I personally didn't play a lot over the holidays. Little Talistar, I've been playing Gwent. Tarkov just wiped, so WoW Season of Discovery doing BGs and losing every single time.
Same.
Every single one has been a loss to a pre-made, so it's been fun. But anyway, Donnie, tell me that Flesh and Blood story. I want to know.
Well, it's not a real complicated story. Yesterday we went to Armory and I brought my brother. And I brought a buddy of mine. Shout out to my buddy Draco and his father Dave. They came with me to Armory last night for the first time at Johns Creek. And Draco is just starting to learn the game. Like, he had just gone like 2 weeks ago on Friday after me and my brother had taught him how to play. His dad may or may not learn. I'm kind of hoping, because that would be cool if we got these guys in. Because
his dad was really cool.
These two, those two guys are my best friends. They are two of the coolest people that I know. Like, point blank, hands down, I love them. and I would love to get them into this game because I love Flesh and Blood, and I think they'd really enjoy it. But I went 1-3 at the Armory, and didn't have the greatest time. I was getting my butt kicked left and right. It was
Who did you
the end of the night though. I was playing Missouri.
Okay.
Next week I'll probably switch it up and do something different, but I've been still on this Missouri kick, and I've been really enjoying the hero. But at the end of the night, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna crack another box. I got a box of Dust Till Dawn, and because for some reason I can't find 2 of my copies of Warmongers, so I'm like, you know what? I'll just crack a box, see if we can pull it. We did. We got the Warmongers out of that box.
Oh, you got
But
a
not
Warmongers
only did we get the Warmongers, yes,
on.
and a Lost in Thought, and it was a freaking hot box, man. Just Majestics all over the place.
Can I guess it? The card?
Go ahead. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think the hit was?
Is a legendary, I assume, right?
What do you think the
wait,
hit was?
I mean,
if we let you do a 20 questions, I'm pretty sure you could narrow it down.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but he was
Based
really
on the heroes
excited
that I like
about
to
it.
play,
This is a tough one. Based on the heroes he likes to play. That's a weird way to say it.
what have you known me to play since Dust Till Dawn
ninjas.
is released?
Really? Oh, Vincent. Oh, you got an EA. Did you get an EA? Which
He
EA
did.
did you pull?
Yes.
Which EA?
Yes, I did.
Widespread Annihilation, the red.
No. I got the EA Carapace. The Dyadic Carapace.
Oh, dude. Congratulations.
The art,
Beautiful card.
So,
My brother actually cracked the pack because he was helping me open the packs. He cracked it, and he's just like, "Hey, here you go." And I'm like, "Dude, what the?" I had a little freak out moment, and it completely made my night, man. It was glorious. It's beautiful. It's already in my hard case, my slider. I've put CC Vincent back together.
Hill.
I may play her next week. Do what?
I got a foil Morlock Hill.
Oh, hey,
Nice.
that part's gonna be really good one day in Blitz. I promise. Like just like Poison the Well.
So
that literally is how I felt with the Crown of Providence, because I traded the one I got and I vowed I was like I'll open it again. I had it out of the hottest box ever in Vegas. We were at the Nationals, and I'm sitting in a car. We're about to go in and eat at Applebee's, and I'm like slow. Or no, we just got out of Applebee's. I'm slow peeking the pack in the car, and I'm like, oh, it's a cold foil, and it's in a legendary spot, and I start freaking out in the car because it's what I wanted. The only thing I was missing out of that set was a cold foil crown and Dominia. Dominia I actually finally finished, so I have finished my Marvel Dragons. I no longer need to buy Uprising ever again. I am now completely done with that set, and I don't have to think about it ever again.
I'll believe it when I see it.
No, I'm seriously, I'm done. Dynasty,
just like
I'm
Dynasty,
not,
like you were done with Dynasty, and then
I'm missing Marvels on Dynasty. Really, is the problem.
Everybody is.
I sold some of the Marvels off, and now I have to get them back.
So, speaking of Draco, Draco was on Bravo, and I've been brushing up my Levia in prep for heavy hitters to come out. And he sat down across to me and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna go Unga Bunga against you." And I'm just like, "Okay, whatever. You could do whatever you want." And he proceeds to like take a good bit of damage so that he could throw a Starstruck at me. And I go, "All right, block 6, respond with Endless Maw for 9." And he's like, "Oh."
I mean,
like, yeah, this
brand
is the kind
spanking
of game
new, barely knows how to play the game, and yeah, he's been playing my Bravo deck, so he's learning. He's learning. Bravo's a good hero to start, but yeah, you gotta know when to pick your battles, man. Starstruck is just not gonna get it done against Levia most of the time.
I throw like one of the nastiest like 4-card hands that you could possibly get like hit with, right? Just block 6, swing 9. Really clean.
That's gross.
Yeah, the Unga Bunga strategy went out the window pretty fast, and it got to the blocking 12 and leaking 2 almost every turn strategy. But yeah,
that's one of the hardest things to learn too. Obviously, is like you start getting this loophole. You're just kind of throw your hand in front of things because you don't want to take damage, but that's the whole trade of the game.
It's interesting because sometimes it's the thing to do with Levia, right? Because her graveyard, she'll run out of graveyard and run out of gas, right?
Yeah,
and you'll be able to take her down from there.
How does the Bravo Levi? Well, how does it go late? Like in terms, does Bravo fatigue you?
It used to like you want to go for like a recursion package and then move into like redeemed and then like outvalue him and eventually deck him. Now you just You try to get a Shade and Death Hydra into your consume pile, flip consume, play tear limb from limb, and hit him for 26 off that. That's the general plan. Is if you get to go consumed and you get to draw a tear limb from limb and not die, the game ends because you can't block 26 damage. Well, okay, you can. If he's got his full armor suite and all D reacts in hand, that's exactly 26.
Dang. So have you been playing Man's List?
Yes, I'm playing Man's List with like a couple cards different in the sideboard. And I think I might make a few more adjustments just because it struggles to fatigue Dash a little bit. It's been running one pulping, and it sounds funny, but I literally want that one pulping makes it hard to side deck against Dash. And it gets sideboarded out very often. So hopefully Heavy Hitters gives me a few more cards that have better utility than pulping.
I'm sure.
Oh, we already know there's going to be some good brute cards coming.
Yeah, I think just that one blue card that makes a might and agility token would replace the pulping.
I mean, we've barely scratched the surface on these spoilers, and holy cow, has Brutes been going crazy.
So I'm excited to do a market minute with almost no context because things are going crazy right now. And we're going to do the context afterwards. We're going to discuss all these awesome spoilers that have happened over the past like week and a half.
Yeah, it's going to be weird, right? Because here we are, we're going to talk about a bunch of cards, and everybody's going to be like, man, why do all these cards just suddenly have these price tags?
I know.
It's crazy. It's a lot of pre-market hype after Christmas too, so I assume everybody's just ready to like throw caution to the wind.
Can we start with Rock?
Yeah, we can. So Marvel Rock got bought out from TCG Player instantaneously upon the tweet, I would assume. Whether or not it was people have been speculating Reinhardt Rock, I think, for a little while, but I don't think it's granted this might be some weird like none of the spoilers made Rock relative now, you know what I mean? But there's still plenty of stuff. Obviously, I think we're going to have some armor, some chest pieces, maybe Brute gets something, maybe KO specific, so we'll see.
If there's cards that block and create vigor tokens, if you can create 3 vigor tokens and block with your whole hand, you could actually swing back with Rock, right?
Well, usually correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll talk about it. Rock has a problem finding that third resource, is just why Tunic needs to be, because you can overpitch usually to have 2 floating, no hand off of it. But unless Skullcrack is that card being discarded, or you have Tunic, you're not getting to 3, which is the problem.
And Vigor tokens don't actually help with that because
because you're using it at the beginning
of
the turn.
At the beginning of the turn. Yeah.
So there would need to be some way for you to generate a resource off of like a card being discarded or something like that, and then that would allow you to do it. Like if 2 cards get discarded, you gain something of that sort. It would have to be an armor piece. We'll see. That's the only way to make Rock relevant. Though it did not stop people from thinking Rock was the newest revolution. So it was completely bought out from TCG Player.
James White is a troll.
It was a combination of James White and the person who spoiled the card, like using Rock and they were trolling, like huge trolling.
Well, let me tell you, the internet didn't think so. So every Rock is gone. There are 2 on eBay, or 2 on TCG Player, excuse me, for $129 and $90. That's it. $129 and $90. That's it. Every single one. I'm watching right now. I know. I can show you. I can show you the sales.
It was a fire sale on a paperweight.
So hold on. First of all, Marvel Rock is actually
we get another brute. So maybe I'm being preemptive, and this will come out, and I'll look like a dum-dum. But
I'm laughing
want
with
Rock
you, buddy,
to
so
be.
It'll be both of us.
I want Rock to be playable with everybody else. I promise you. I think it's an amazing card. I keep thinking about it.
I think the flavor of it's great. The art is fantastic. It's a really cool card. And Vigor tokens, like I said, if there's a way to get 3 of them, you're now potentially blocking 12 swinging with Rock, which is great. Great rate.
I don't think there's anything wrong. That's 19 value, right? That's 19.
It swings for 7, right?
Yeah, swings for 7. Can't be prevented either, mind you. And that matters, especially against you-know-who. Prism, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I guess Prism feels real sad when she has to cover it with 3 cards.
Real bad. That Rock comes down, and that's, oh boy.
That is pretty funny.
So yeah, they in some cases tripled in price because they were at $40. In most cases, they just doubled in price. So guys, I wouldn't take the rock hype yet. Let's see where this goes. But obviously, with context later, you're going to understand why this can't be the rock card. But we'll get there. So that was rock. Let's move on to Berserk, which is from Dynasty. They are.
You love this card, right, Noah?
I actually do love Berserk. It's OTK'd me so many times in Blitz against Reinhardt. I've sat down and had him like look at his hand, and he's like, I think I got it. And he just starts playing out the cards. All 4 of my cards disappear from my hand. There's 20 damage, and I go, wow, it's like that's it. That's how it works. And then I shuffle myself up. We play again like 2 or 3 times while everybody else plays their Blitz match because it ended in round 1.
We played great games of
turn
Flesh and Blood.
0. Sometimes turn 0, it happens. What do you do? Berserk got bought out pretty much across the board. So
No.
you're looking now.
I think there is like a reason that card sells out.
100%. And you'll see the reason later on why this card literally shot up. They were down. This is just today. Let me go back a little bit. They were guys, $1. These things were getting bought out earlier today at 75 cents and $1.
That's
okay?
wild.
For non-foils, rainbow foils at $4, sometimes as low as $2. Okay. They're now $12 cards. They're $12 common or $12 non-foils, and they are $15 to $20 foils right now. That's where you're at right now for Berserk.
Wow.
Overnight.
What does Berserk even do?
That's
I'm not
crazy.
sure
Okay.
I'm familiar with that card.
So Berserk is a 2-cost yellow no block that says for the rest of your
yellow.
Oh yeah, even better. So 1-cost yellow. It says for the rest of the turn, whenever you discard a 6 or more attack, banish it, and then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a 6, put it into your hand.
Think about why that, we don't have the context yet. We'll give it to you.
Well,
if you know, you know.
Okay, let's think of the simplest context. The simplest context is you play Wild Ride. You go draw a card, discard a card, 2 for 6, 2 for 6, go again. But instead of drawing a card and discarding a card, you just draw a card.
Because you get a card from the Wild Ride lets you draw a card, right?
Yep, and then you discard a card. If you discard a 6, and you flip a 6. Now, if you brick, it's just stuck on the top of your deck. Your Berserker Rage is over unless you have something else to draw a card, discard a card, which you can use like the helmet, Skullhorn, the 2AB helmet. You can break it, draw a card, discard a card, and get to try again. It's sketchy because that card that's on top that you're about to draw into your hand is also a non-6. So
is it though?
Well, no, it is because it got stuck there. Let's say you get another Berserk on the top, right? You play Berserk, and the second card you see is Berserk. And it's stuck there unless you draw a card, discard a card. And then in order to do that, you're drawing the Berserk and hoping you don't discard it.
Man, but if
same thing with Blood Rush Bellow, Tear Limb from Limb, these power cards that you really, really want to put into your Brute deck, right?
Yeah. I can really see how Brutes are going to be going nuts over the next few months.
It's good though. I'm excited for it.
Berserk is a really balanced card. I actually like it. The reason it was super degenerate is because of Reinhardt's hero power. Like I think
he doesn't get to abuse it.
Still get like it could still become unreasonable eventually. But I think its unreasonableness is capped when the opposing player can legitimately like block for 12. So that's how I feel about it.
I know I'd agree with that. We'll talk about that when we reveal what's causing all these spikes. It'll be something to talk about, kind of the differences. But yeah, Berserk guys, it's gone Berserk. And eBay's not going to get any better. That's for lack of better words.
Over 1,000% increase.
Yeah, there might be some straggling around, but I can tell you, as somebody who jumped on this as fast as I physically could, which I could have got on quicker, they're gone. Like they're cleaned out. Most of these things like this, it happens, and I
could have told you Berserk was going to be the card to play, and because I told you it was going to be KO.
Well, the crazy thing is I've been talking about becoming a KO main in Blitz my whole life. I didn't realize that I was going to become a KO Blitz in CC as well.
Spoilers, by the way.
Oh yeah, dang! I did it again. It's foreshadowing. I'll have to weigh it between my prisms, because let me tell you, if Prism gets hosed by that, and there's so many brutes running around.
I don't necessarily think Prism gets hosed. She definitely, if Rock is viable, Rock definitely does just like basically wreck her deck.
if rock is viable, we're in a weird world.
Like hilariously so. It's
I think I talked about this next card very recently. I told you guys it's probably a good idea to pick them up. I'm going to mention it again. Scabskin leathers. Literally, you got to get them now. They've gone up again, not as much as I thought they were going to go up. They're only at 56 right now, which is actually quite a lot considering I just told you that they hit around $50 baseline last time we talked. So they have yet to, but you have to understand that if a brute hero becomes meta, and like this is a block 3, this is almost and it's turn extender, it's an action. Let's get real here. These, unless they make some boots that make rock viable and the internet says so, these are the boots. Like you got to get them. I would get them now while people are doing all this crazy stuff. You don't want to open up the page and see you've got $100 legendary you got to go find, or use a whiteboard or one.
If you are interested in playing,
I would hope Scabskin Leathers. Sorry, I would hope Scabskin Leathers does not become the de facto boots. I would hope that something, there's like an alternative, right? We have like the other stuff that you could break it one time in Blitz that pops up occasionally, but that's just because Blitz is a shorter format.
It's so hard to beat block 3 in action point generation though. Like let's be, I mean, that the effect aside, it blocks 3. It's battle worn equipment. It's something that they don't want to make ever again because of how good it is.
Yeah, and it's also something that you only need to get the action point for like one time to get like crazy value from it.
That's it just takes one good 6 roll or 5 roll, whatever, on a turn to literally win the game off of that extended value and tempo taking. So it makes perfect sense. Scabs are going to trend up. Step on it. Get those. Now this card, we've mentioned it a couple of times. Tear Limb from Limb. All these cards have something in common. They're all brute cards. So Tear Limb from Limb has shot up as well. Not as much. I don't get to tell you that it's gone through the roof at
Hope not. I just gave away 6 of them 2 weeks ago.
So they were same thing. $1 for rainbow foils, $1 for normals, and they are now $5 rainbow foils, $5, and so there's only 3 rainbow foils. There, 5, 6, and 17.
How much is the non-foil now?
Non-foil, let's go. Just unlimited normal, $4. So you're looking at a $4 to $5, 7, 8. Yeah. So
yeah, I gave away $24.
Yeah, they're going up. They're trending. Most every brute card is. Whether they settle, they settle. But
the more brute players, the better.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that because I've been playing a lot against my brother at the kitchen table here at the house, and he's been playing Levia, and I've just been getting my soul stomped out of my body multiple times.
She is really strong.
Just high rolling the crap out of me. So
her lowest low rolls are like absolute disasters, but even her like okay turns are 15-point pluses.
And if you roll 3 or 4 6s in a game, it's unwinnable.
Especially when you get Doomsday and you get Blasphemous out, you're just like consistently getting 20-ish points of value out of every hand.
Our next card is Beast Within. Another brute card.
Yeah.
Again, noticing a theme.
Yeah. This one hasn't spiked quite as high because it already was kind of high. I mean, it was already an $8, $10 card, normals, and you could get rainbow foils from like
Beast Within is a like an $8 to $10 card when it's essentially a card that on text it kind of is just a vanilla 3 cost 6. It does nothing else. It has this like high roll potential that if you draw it with Blood Rush Pillow and you discard it, it's time to go. Like, you get that free extra card, so you can even block with an extra card if you need to make sure that you discard the Beast Within.
It sets up some pretty nasty turns. The price spike's just not as high as I thought it would be. So you're looking at non-foils. You're looking at a $15 card now, 15, 16. So it pretty much doubled in price, which I think is still pretty decent.
And these brute decks are getting expensive. What the?
If you want them rainbow foil, by the way, there are some lightly played ones up now for like $13, ranging from 13 to 20. The first near mint is at 25 though for rainbow foils. So $25 rainbow foils and $15 non foils. Yeah, so that's where we're at for Beast Within right now. Definitely, probably going to trend up. Let's be real.
Yeah, especially with one of the spoilers we saw today. If there are other cards like that, especially if they're in like the majestic power level, Beast Within just becomes even better.
Speaking of power cards and becoming better, Blood Rush Bellows is the next card, which shouldn't be surprising. Although, well, let me just double check what this blue line is. I always like to know exactly which price this is.
I wouldn't be surprised if Blood Rush Bellow stayed down a little bit because I think it comes in some precons.
Weird.
I think you get 2 of them from the Dorinthia versus Rhinar. I think there's 2 of them in that.
I don't think so. I bought that.
I don't
think so. One of the first things that I picked up.
Really?
There's no way they're gonna let a WTR Majestic come out of that.
Is that what?
I don't believe.
I thought. Okay, so it has been reprinted a lot though. Because it's in History Pack, so they are readily available. You've got WTR Unlimited and History Pack.
You do have WTR Unlimited and History Pack. I don't know why it won't let me figure out what the line is. I assume the blue line though is the non-foil. So you're looking. Here we go. We can take the price. So they were bought out for anywhere from $4 for non-foils. Foils.
I gave away a handful of these too to the people starting their brute decks.
So yeah, about $4 there, $4 to $6, and now they're $12. Non-foils, and if you want foils, they're $30 a piece right now.
Wow,
foils for foil Blood Rush Bellows.
Man, I wouldn't actually mind when rarity upgrading some of my brute cards. Most of my brute stuff I think is not very high rarity.
I keep all my warrior stuff at low rarity. I don't care enough. Most of that stuff would cost so much money to go get all those promos and stuff.
Did Guardian or Warrior get any traction, or has it just been all brute hype?
So weirdly enough, I didn't see anything. Guardian and Warrior are a hard one to peg because, and I'll talk about it in a minute. We have 2 cards. That's a good segue into the heroes. But one of the last 2 cards we have here, one of them Skullcrack. It'll become apparent why that's, well, I think that might have been tied to the rock, but but regardless, I actually think Skullcrack is still one of the most basic brute staples. I mean, it's a free resource. When you discard, inevitably you're going to discard. So like, let's be real. Usually it lines up pretty well, but Skullcrack is another card that we're talking $2. Sometimes $3. Rainbow foils were $3. I mean, nothing crazy. And rainbow foils are now $7. It's getting there, so it's got a price spike a little bit. And non-rainbow foils just normal. It's a $5 Majestic now, and it usually was only about $2, like $1, $2.
I mean, Skullcrack is just solid. It's a 2 cost 6 that blocks 3, and it has another function that synergizes really well with like the Rhinar stuff. I think it's just going to be almost an auto ad, especially if Berserk Kano is a thing. It's a 3 of, for sure, just straight up. Because worst case, it's like one of your finishers. Best case, it gets you a resource for free on top of drawing extra cards.
Yeah, I agree. And the last card I have is Savage Beatdown. Less than $1 for non-foils, about $1 for foils, $1.43. Now $4 for non-foils, and $9 to $10 for rainbow foils.
I don't think this card will be played in KO.
Savage Beatdown has
it's too resource intensive.
But that's kind of what he now gets access to a better pool of. So perhaps people are saying that to take more advantage of this.
Well, you don't necessarily have to run the Berserk stuff, right? You can almost run like a Guardian, but with access to brute stuff. So instead of like dominate, you're running a bunch of barraging beatdowns and trying to do some kind of combo. I think that's still better in Rhinar though.
But I'm maybe with the extra clause though from the hero, and well, if you're not running berserk, I guess extra clause doesn't matter then. But it does for the discarding and allowing you to run better resource management. Well, we'll see. I do like the vision though, and I think it all makes sense. But the real reason why I don't think warriors had any traction is because the hero that was spoiled in that category doesn't line up with any current thing that's going on with warrior. It's more of an attack action based, and so like courage can't magically just shoot through the roof because the dude doesn't look like he cares about a weapon.
Yeah, specifically, we haven't seen any weapons for the new heroes.
We have not, which I assume before anybody goes crazy thinking brute and thinking like mandible claws, we're getting there. The weapons really are going to matter, I think, for these classes and dictating exactly the playstyle, especially the brute, because I think they have something in mind with the fact of only the way that they did it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure mandible claw is going to be his weapon. Like it's in the art.
I don't think it's going to be the one that we think. I think it's going to be a mandible claw specifically for him because of his.
Let's jump into the heroes, guys. We've been beating around the bush enough. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and jump into what we got today, and then we'll go to the other two.
Okay. So we've talked a ton about KO. So let's just jump into KO because that's what everyone's probably here for. If they're looking at podcasts or listening to podcasts, they're here for KO. So the new hero is KO. KO is already in Flesh and Blood as a young hero only. His mechanic involved dice rolling whenever you attack with a 6 or more. Now we've got KO
Berserker Runt.
I guess he got caught. He was the runt. Now he's just normal angry KO with no runt attached. But he ridiculously enough only has one arm. So his hero text reads, "You have one weapon zone. You may only have one-hander weapon or offhand weapon equipped. Attack action cards you own get +1 attack while they are in any other zone other than the combat chain. And the first time you discard a 6 or more during each of your action phases, create a might token." This clearly starts firing neurons in any brute player who goes, "Man, I wish we just had a couple more blue 6s. There are now quite a few blue 6s and, and a lot of yellow 6s added to the pool. This was a really creative way to add blue 6s to the brute pool without giving them to Reinar or Levia. God, boy, do I wish I could get rid of Deadwood Rumbler.
I mean, I think this is a great design choice for it. I think this addresses a problem. I mean, brutes have that fine line that they have to run with resources. With the 6s, they matter. And I think this is an exceptional way to get over it. And I think the clause of only having one weapon, when we talk about some of his power cards that have actually spiked, like Berserk, what this means for that. I think the idea to give him only one weapon, regardless if it's just a basic mandible claw or some upgraded version, is a good balancing factor.
What does each of your action phases...
That is actually my favorite part of this card.
What does each of your action phases mean?
Because can't you technically
if you break the chain, is that a new action phase and you can make 2 might tokens in a turn?
No, because it says the first time.
No, the first time during each of your action phases.
Yeah, well,
I think that's just talking about from turn to turn.
Yeah, because I assume your action phase starts the second you play.
Well, why wouldn't they just say the first time during your turn or during your action phase? The first time during your action phase. They specifically put each of your action phases. You know what? Watch there be something that like gives KO like a weird extra action phase.
What would be the point of that?
To make extra might tokens?
But he can only do it the first time, though.
During each of your action phases. That text is so weird to me. That was the very first thing that I got hung up on. I'm like, what does each of your action phases mean?
My translation of that in my head is just that it's a once per turn thing.
Yeah,
that's the structure of a turn.
But this is the first time we've seen that text, and that's usually significant.
I understand why he's saying it because like in Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, right? There's a main phase 1 or Magic. There's like a main phase 1 and there's a main phase 2. Like you can go, you can play cards. I would like to go to battle. I'm battling, and then you can literally play more cards after battle, but you can't go back to battle. And so, does Flesh and Blood have the same structure? Do I play cards and as soon as I attack you, we're now in battle? So something is happening to where he is going to try and keep track of. They wouldn't make that distinction unless it's for something later and it has no, you know what I mean? Like it's worded for something down the road that they had to address now. I don't know. This could be the craziest
That's the only
foreshadowing
thing I
ever.
could think
I
of.
think
It's
that's just a
something down the road.
clarification thing. But no, my absolute favorite part of this hero is the fact that in the story he lost his arm before he was captured, or like when he was captured, and they only gave him one weapon zone. I'm all about the flavor for Flesh and Blood, and the fact that this one-armed hero only has one weapon slot, that is just so freaking on point. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, and the art.
Oh man,
Oh
his
my
adult
goodness.
hero is so cool looking.
They did a
These
great
Marvels.
job.
Oh my goodness.
The Marvels are
Oh, I
going to be
haven't looked
sick
at the
of.
Marvel. Oh,
Oh,
man,
It's
Oh,
freaking beautiful.
yeah. Ooh, that's great. God, why didn't Dash.io get this treatment? I'm excited for KO though.
I'm quite excited for KO. I think
I mean,
is
looking
going
at
to
the art and
be.
looking at his hand, he's got the mandible claw. So
It is a mandible claw. I
It will-
would not be
it will be
surprised
a
if
mandible
it's
claw.
just.
It also-
if it's just mandible claw.
It synergizes so well with the cards that he's getting because it's just a 3 that
Oh,
you can
yeah.
attach to the turn, right?
It's
so-
still swinging for 5 most of the time.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the cards that got spoiled with it, though. First is the fact that he's running Mandible Claw. You have this new non-attack action called Bonebreaker Bellow with the new keyword Beat Chest.
Super cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
So
love everything about this.
it's so cool. I don't know what I think about the card yet. It's obviously it needs some play. It's a non-6, so it kind of can mess things up. This card is going to be fantastic and limited, I think. But it's a 1 cost, 3 block red. It's common, so it probably has a full color suite. The keyword Beat Chest says, as an additional cost to play this, you may discard a 6 or more. I think we've even talked about brute cards in the past. If they made them maze or something to give them more modularity, it would be better. So I love that this is a may. Your next brute attack action this turn gets +3. If you discarded, or if you've beaten chest this turn, instead it gets +5. And specifically, keep in mind that says brute attack. So if you discard the 6 to Bonebreaker Bellow, your Mandible Claw swings for 8, go again. Not bad. You pitch a blue, you play Bonebreaker Bellow, you'll have 2 left over, you swing for 8 with the claw.
Yeah.
I dig it. It's quite good.
That's really. And also, by the way, because it is a may, and you get to choose. I assume you may discard. Yeah, because it doesn't say random, right? You get to now give Skullcrack away for the resource for free with this effect.
So
you effectively play it for free.
Let's say you don't manage to keep a 3-card hand and you just have Bonebreaker Bellow and a blue. You could still play this and swing the claw for 5 off of 2 cards.
Yeah.
A 2-card 5 isn't great, but it's also not the end of the world. Like it allows you to at least potentially hold tempo because it is a breakpoint.
Bravo plays 2-card 6s all day, right? With Thanatos, isn't it 2-card 6?
Yeah, but that doesn't cost any cards out of his deck. He just pitches into the hammer. Okay.
you
I
just
did not
party.
think about this turning claw into an 8. That's crazy.
Yeah, a 3-card 8 seems pretty okay. And especially in limited.
Well, I mentioned this before when we started recording. With one of the things that I think that Brute has a trouble with, and I think one of the other cards that came out that I'll point to, I think solves that problem, is keeping cards in hand or having effective turns. So imagine, like you said, imagine giving up your whole hand and still being able to swing. Like that feels great. Or swing for 5. Like it still feels good. It's not like can't use a discard effect this turn, so I guess I'll Arsenal pat. You know, it feels so much better to say, oh, I had to block. Well, I still give you something back.
That's a good segue into the next card, which is No Fear.
Yeah. I actually really like this card. They tried this with Bonehead Barrier and it was terrible. And I think this is a way better version.
This is probably way better than Bonehead Barrier. No Fear is a 0-cost red. It is a brute instant. It can't block. As an additional cost to play this, banish any number of cards with 6 or more power from your hand. At the beginning of the end phase, return them to your hand. The next time you'd be dealt damage this turn, prevent X of that damage, where X is X plus 2 of the cards banished this turn. So that means if you play this from Arsenal and banish your entire 4-card hand, you could block 6 and get your hand back. So it becomes a 1-card 6, which is honestly quite strong. Like, it's like really strong. Also, it's an instant. So like if someone's like, okay, I'm going to keep 2 cards in hand, throw Command and Conquer at you, they get totally gotcha'd when you play No Fear out of Arsenal and block the entire Command and Conquer, or even a little bit of it.
This is not a card that you'd probably want against like ninjas and stuff, the low to the ground aggro decks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I could definitely see it being useful against other brutes or higher power decks like Bravo.
Really, I don't necessarily see it being bad, because I think the average block value you're going to get out of this is 5. I think on average you'll have like 1 non-6 in your hand, including maybe itself. That it might be the card in your hand. So you play No Fear and banish the other 3 cards and prevent 5. The interesting thing about this is it is where it can happen on the chain, right? Since it's an instant, you can kind of wait to the last second.
Think about if Icelander was still relevant, being able to just like sink your hand off of an Aether Ice Vein trigger off of 2 discards, and you literally don't have to discard anything because you banished it all already to prevent the damage.
Well, think about just having a card in your deck that says Kano can't kill you.
No, that's what I'm saying. Between the 2 wizards, like, dude, this is so much better than Bonehead Barrier. I couldn't even begin to tell you. But
Because
I think the hand play is so unique. I mean, imagine anything. Respond to a pummel, and you're like, can't discard if I've already banished them for, I mean.
Well, now you can.
The mind games are so cool with this.
Now you could pitch a blue to swing big into Kano, threatening lethal, and then if he responds, you can like No Fear out of Arsenal the other 2 cards in your hand to prevent 4, and then you still get an Arsenal back at the end because the 2 cards come back. You want to know who this is really cute in though? What does this card do specifically? What keyword is it? Are we using?
Oh, banish.
Yeah, this card could potentially be like disgusting in Levia. It is a brute instant. So, okay, if you have a Diabolic Offering in your hand, and you have No Fear, if you have No Fear in your arsenal, you can play No Fear, banish 3 cards from your hand, and then you still have the Diabolic Offering in your hand. So that No Fear prevents 5, and the Diabolic Offering blocks 6. So you block 11, you could still have 3 cards in your hand come back, which can be disgusting things like Dread Screamer into Graveling Growl. So now you've had a 23-point turn cycle without using a power card.
I'm telling you, this card's going to be stonks, man. In certain situations, it's going to be it's a good card. And it has answers. That's what I like. I think it addresses a problem.
It's another cute thing you could do. If you have a Bloodrot Pox token, you could banish a Slithering Shadowpede from your hand on your turn. Attack with the Slithering Shadowpede because you banished it from your hand, and then block the 2 damage from the Bloodrot Pox token. And turn off Blood Debt. The card can turn off Blood Debt at instant speed, which is interesting too. I think it's cool. I don't know if it ends up in Levia, but I think it's potentially better than some other options, and it's got a really potentially high ceiling, right? With Diabolic Offering. I don't know. It's scary putting Diabolic Offering in your deck, though. Did we have any other brute cards that came out this past week?
Yeah, there's the 2 that you get to discard at instant speed. Aren't those brutes?
But those aren't showing up
hybrid
yet.
Cards.
Yeah, those are hybrid.
Yeah, it is.
They're hybrid. My bad.
They're there. Mighty Wind Up and Mighty Wind Up and Agile Wind Up.
Yeah, yes. Those are the ones that got spoiled.
Okay, yeah. So the first one is a Brute Guardian attack action card. It's a 3 for 7 red. It scales down to a 3 for 5 blue, which is notable because that means in KO it's a 6 on a blue, and it says instant discard this, create a might token. It only blocks for 2. So we've got one for agile and we've got one for might. The agility one I think is the one that's most compelling, right? Because you can kind of hold it in your hand and say, okay, they used their action point. I didn't need to block with this. Now I'm going to chunk it to give my next thing go again next turn.
I think pitching a card for go again.
Maybe it may be the most compelling one, but I kind of like the might token in limited. Like if we're looking at a bunch of wager stuff, then that mighty windup, that's going to be a really good card.
Like, I wonder if there's any other ways to use that discard effect.
Man,
we'll have to see.
I don't think you can't like use the instant while you're discarding it for the other effect, right? I don't think you can.
The cool thing is that if you use if you discard mighty windup with KO, you actually end up with 2 might tokens. If you do it during your action phase.
This is literally what I'm asking right now is I don't think you can like get the instant discard without actually resolving its instant. Like you'd have to either play it as the instant or you'd have to discard it for them. You can't get both.
It's the modularity.
You need to respond to the trigger.
Modularity is always
it doesn't say when this is discarded. So
yeah.
So let's say I think in KO the blue one's going to be the best, right? Because a blue that does everything you want it to do is quite good. And you could pitch it, you could block for 2, you could discard it for a might token. The cool thing about it is if like the person kind of has an off turn in limited, you can just during your turn, if you have 2 blues in hand, you could just chunk this one to create a might token for the next turn and get another might token because you triggered the ability. And then guess what you also do? You turn on the mandible claw. So this ease of discarding a 6 is probably why KO only has 1 arm.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
for sure.
It has
Can you imagine in
That's
limited?
What I'm saying.
In limited, if the claws were just on all the time,
it would be claw and blitz game to be over in seconds.
We call it Clawdachi locking.
That's actually really good. It is also just a 3 for 7. It's a breakpoint. It's awesome. The mighty windup and agile one, they're both 3 for 7. So
anyone remembers Bright Lights limited 3 for 7s can win games.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Usually games come down. Looks like most of the cards are going to be blocking for 3 minus some of the big power cards. I think there's going to be plenty of block.
Well,
so I think breakpoints are going to matter.
I think if you have high modularity, it drops to 2, right? So like the agile windup and mighty windup only block 2. But you get to like class specific cards and those usually block 3. Because I think all the drink ones only block 2. We'll get to the guardian action. It's a guardian action that only blocks 2. Yikes. I think that's all of the brute cards though. It's really exciting. These brute cards look so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into the brutes.
I mean, if you're not into brute now, like if KO doesn't get you into brute, hopefully the next brute hero we get will.
We'll see.
Okay, so we also I think we got the first one we got was actually the new Guardian, which is Betsy.
Yes,
Betsy's skin in the game.
Oh my god,
I love her design.
I love this hero.
Looks like a really fun Guardian too. Shakes up like a little bit of the way that they play. I love it. This would be a Guardian that I would actually consider picking up because like Bravo is just, but like I actually like the flavor of this.
All right, Twitter got a little weird when Betsy came out, but understandably.
Yeah. Oh, everybody's always got a.
Well, you gotta have a heavy set lady imposing her way, drinking as much booze as she can, and then beating you down with a stick, like a really big stick. Yeah.
It's not called heavy hitters. Okay, but seriously.
So Betsy says whenever an attack you control,
she is a heavy hitter,
heaviest of hitters. When an attack action you control wagers, you may pay 2. If you do, the attack gets +1 in overpower. So questionable in CC, right? Because that means almost all of her cards are going to come from this set. So she's going to miss out on some of the bigger Guardian cards unless there's a way to give those cards specifically wager, and there is. But it just seems like you lose some consistency that you do with Bravo, and that's kind of like one of the main reasons you play the Guardian class at the moment. But this card,
this is like
good in limited.
This is Bravo from Wish.com.
Wish.com Bravo. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Bravo's hero ability from Wish.com.
Okay.
So
it doesn't get dominate. Yes, but it does get +1, which is nothing to like scoff at. You pay the 2 for the +1.
And overpower, which is still technically relevant. I mean, it's not as unblockable.
Overpower is good.
It's not as unblockable as dominate, but you're also trying to get the wager benefit of it. So you're trying to shoehorn yourself into getting that wager, which is going to increase your next turn. So,
and I'm a big fan of them like kind of floating away from the dominate keyword. Overpower is much fairer and feels much more interactable.
Yeah.
Dominate feels bad when you get caught with no armor and no D-reacts, or you just don't have any more and it's the 86 arrow or attack that Bravo or Azalea is dominated in your face for 14, and you're just like, I don't know how to do this.
I don't think it's currently a toxic keyword, but I think it could quickly become one, right? So
oh man, as somebody who plays Dory,
Azalea sometimes when you play an Azalea,
borderline.
It feels toxic. Like it's just like you have no interactability, because when you get hit with a Redden Ledger that was at 11 dominate, it's just like, okay, yeah, this fun game. Too bad I'm playing a hero that wants to play more than one action in a turn.
you block your one card in front of it, and you take the rest of it, and you look at all your cards, and you say, I can't play any of them.
You attack
lose
for
all
4
that
or
value.
something. It's just,
and then,
oh god,
and you feels terrible.
The most terrible thing is Redden Ledger dominate with an inertia attached to it.
Oh
god,
yeah, because you can't
bad.
even save the card. Oh dude, it makes me sick. And then they Codex of Inertia next turn, they rip a card out of your hand because you couldn't put an arsenal to begin with. It's my favorite part. Inertia into Codex of Inertia literally says, hey, but you don't want a card in your hand, do you? Flip, discard.
We did get a specialization with Betsy called Bet Big. It's a 4-cost, 8 attack, 3 block red. It's not legendary, so you could have 3 of them. When this attacks a hero, you may wager a gold, might, and vigor token with them. So it does activate her hero power. Interestingly enough, it's a 4-cost, so you pitch 2 blues. You get to use her hero power. It gets to come in for 9 overpower. With 3 wagers attached to it. That's
spicy.
That's actually like
9 overpower. Easy to pummel too, because all you'd have to have is a 3rd blue.
Yeah, you could pummel, but I'm thinking more Bet Big is one of these power cards that you block pretty heavily on, throw in the arsenal, block 2 cards, throw in 9 overpower to try to take tempo back. Yeah, and if you get that gold, might, and vigor token, it's just a really cool way to kind of like snowball, right? Because once you get that 1 gold token that you could like pitch to draw a card, turn a blue into a new card with 1 extra resource floating. There's like great ways to snowball. So sometimes you don't even need, like, you can almost play Bet Big off of a single blue if you had like a gold or a vigor token floating from the previous turn.
I was just gonna say that. What about even Seismic? If she actually ends up running the same chess piece, the tectonic, I don't know if you're gonna be. I see the wager mechanic taking very full value of saying I'm paying pay for my tectonic now, just like Bravo does for my turn next time. I'm paying for my tectonic. Let me see if I can win a wager.
I don't know. I think I would rather have Tunic. But we'll see.
I mean, I was already thinking Tunic plus blue is the same way, but
then you don't have to even bother arsenaling it. You just block with 2 cards and then Tunic and toss it.
You've been spending too much time in the Card Guys Discord with 2 Bravos that want to run Tunic. Okay,
that's good, man. It's that consistency thing, right?
For fun.
Okay,
stirring the pot for fun.
Bigger than big.
I do like Tunic.
Bigger than big is the other Guardian card we got. This is the weirdo one, the Guardian card that blocks 2. It is a 3-cost aura. Usually that's already a kind of an alarm bell, right? You have like 2 Guardian auras that you ever want to play. At the start of your turn, destroy this, then your next Guardian attack this turn gets +5, and when this attacks a hero, you may wager a might token with them. Flesh and Blood.
Is limited fodder.
Yeah, Flesh and Blood is notorious for like, you never want to pay for a hamburger tomorrow. You want your hamburger today. Or I guess you never pay for your ham sandwich tomorrow. You want your ham sandwich right now. Because if you wait for your ham sandwich tomorrow, you might get Codex of Frailty and then just get blown out and have no turn. Bigger than that is just putting a card out on the table saying, hey, this is exactly what I'm doing next turn. And I spent tempo doing it. This is great and limited. Holy crap. Like,
this is for
it
closing
also
games
immediately brings Brevant to mind.
Yeah, it's
Brevant's whole playstyle.
And Brevant is really good in UPF, and he's probably would be good in a limited setting, just like any Guardian with access to those cards in a limited setting would be. I think Bigger Than Big will be like a clear card people take in limited.
I think it maybe it's setting us up for what the other guardian is going to be focused on. Maybe the other guardian is a setup guardian, like kind of like Brevant does. You want the tower ability. I mean,
Hmm.
we don't know anything about what the second guardian's going to do yet. This may be a hint.
Well, there is a way to play this without losing tempo, by the way, and it's getting agility tokens. So if you can get an agility token and throw a big smacking, so it's possible to like play bet big with an agility token and then play bigger than big immediately after bet big, and so you get to say big a lot in one turn.
Do we think that this is a way of giving Guardians a little more of a more fun? I don't want to know how to word this. Not a fun play style, but Guardian is notorious for doing the whole block.
Mhm.
Got a arsenal of card, get 5 cards. Now I can throw something. Well, is this to give them more streamlined turns where if they're actively like doing wagers and their whole like mights and agilities are carrying over the way they should, that their turns turn into, oh, I can throw an attack, it gets go again, or I could, you have more of a flexibility where you're not constantly saying, okay, this is my off turn. Maybe you get to string together now turns as Guardian.
If you've ever
rather than
played
having an
Brevant
off
and
turn.
people are feeding you Quicken tokens, yeah, that is exactly what you're doing,
Well,
and it is pretty fun throwing an attack for 16 and then setting up for another 16 attack the next turn. Like,
Just in general, does this like does the wagering and stuff give Bravo say enough? I don't even want to say width, but enough to play a more like turn rather than having like an off turn. Does this give him more consistency to say, oh, I can actually generate some threat on all my
I
turns
think you
now?
would want something
If
like
the wagers are carrying
Earthlore
over and
Bounty.
stuff.
I think you'd want something like Earthlore Bounty Guardian, and so you just kind of get this like roll going where you're just, it's like almost like a combo that once it's like a train. Once it starts going, it just
Right.
keeps going. Bravo doesn't really do that. Bravo says this is the best math and does the best math. So I think it'll be some other Guardian, like if we get Adult Valda, for example, which is still my guess.
That would be cool.
Betsy's keen to do that. I mean, like her whole thing is wagering. Wagering's carryover.
Mhm.
So I mean, she's trying to create each turn. She's trying to create a good turn next turn to continue to have good turns. Is what I see Betsy doing. I'm constantly winning wagers to keep getting tokens so that each turn has some kind of token interaction helping
And
you
Bravo
out.
does
It's
that
her
sometimes
best case
with,
scenario.
with Dominate and Crush effects, right? Sometimes it's just like
Yeah, back to
spinal,
back.
spinal, and you're just like, God, man, it sucks to be Fi.
Yeah, really. Been there, ate that. But I think you might be right about Valda, because so far we've gotten 2 heroes that are upgraded from the previous young versions. I mean, we've got Kasai the Golden Sand, and we've got KO Armed and Dangerous. Valda would make sense to complete the trio.
Yeah, agreed.
It would make sense.
And also,
It might be
anything
time.
if people play Earthlore Bounty, that card is beautiful. So the more Earthlore Bounties that
Yes.
get played, the better.
And
Love
you
that
guys are
card.
gonna make me go speculate on Earthlore Bounty. Pop it.
I mean, if we get Valda
just
and
a
it
guess,
says
but
do this with seismic surge tokens, Earthlore Bounty is probably going to be popular. So okay, the last hero spoiler we have is the absolute chattiest of Chads. He's even got a
Yeah.
Chad name. This guy, dude. Well, hopefully they'll spoil the other Guardian, and it'll be that one that we're getting with Art, and he might be the chattest of Chads. But right now, Olympia is the chattiest of Chads. Olympia prize fighter, very short hero text here. The first time each of
Yes.
your attacks wins a wager, create a gold token. So wager mechanic focused. I think Noah hinted at that earlier, that it's just very, very different from previous Warriors. Almost to the point that
Well,
it
yeah.
doesn't fit the class.
It's definitely an attack. Like, I mean, you can't wager. I don't think weapon attacks.
Just
Maybe
gotta
you
see the
can.
weapon
Maybe-
too.
It depends.
Yeah,
It depends on
I'm
what the
trying
weapon
to.
is.
I'm trying to figure it out. So what I can tell you though, for sure, because of his armor and his getup, is there'll be warrior gear specifically made for this guy, because there's no warrior gear right now that helps him.
So normally we for the other arts, we got hints at what the weapon's going to be by the art, but in the adult hero, he's just holding like a fern.
I mean, he does have a sword on his side, so
Yeah.
it looks like he's gonna have a one-handed weapon.
But in the young hero, he doesn't have a sword at his side. He's just got his abs.
It's in the sand, right? Oh, maybe not. I thought it was just thrown on the ground right there, but no.
There is a sword down
In
there.
his specialization, In his specialization, he's holding 2 swords.
Yeah, he is dual wielding and he is angry. Yeah, so his specialization is so cool. This card is awesome. Up the ante. It's a blue block 3 already. Great, right? A blue block 3 warrior attack reaction. The cost is X. It's an Olympia specialization, not legendary, so you get to run 3. Choose X +1. Target attack wagers an agility token with the defending hero. Target attack wagers a gold token with the defending hero. Target attack wagers a vigor token with the defending hero. And target attack gets +Y. Got to make sure we go to another letter. +Y, where Y is the number of times it has wagered.
So the idea is to pitch a blue, you pick all 4 then, right? And the attack gets +3 and all this.
Or you pitch 2 blues and you wager 6 times and then give it +6. It doesn't say you can only choose these once. Right? So you could wager, or you could wager 5 times and give it plus.
So this is
+10.
This is something really neat, because warriors sometimes have a problem with like not being able to, like, they have nothing to really dump extra resources into, or I mean, you can in attack reactions.
Do you have resources to dump?
Yeah, but this literally like is an all in on a wager, right? Because you could literally dump your entire hand and just say, hey, if this hits, by the way, my next turn is going to be mighty fire.
Let's say that his weapon is just like a pay 2 to attack for 2, and it does something else, right? So if this is in your arsenal and you have a 4 blue hand, you could dump 10 resources into this. And I'm sure there's an optimal number that you do, like where how many times you wager versus how many times you use the last one. But that weapon's coming in for like quite a bit, because even if you only put 8 into the wagers and do 2 into the other, that's +16.
But it's really, let me just read this. And okay, so you do gain that. So and then what does agility read? Agility is only the first attack it gets go again, right? For some reason,
right. But what I'm saying is that, like, it's that last clause that makes this kind of broken.
But notice might isn't on there. You can't wager might. So you can't, like, say if my attack hits, I'm going to get 4 might tokens. So giving yourself 4 agility tokens effectively does nothing, because they'll all break at once.
Other than pumping your weapon up to 16 damage.
Yeah, but I'm saying you choose vigor most likely.
If that's the way.
So
we may have to wait.
Maybe they'll come out.
That's assuming that's.
And you can only wager 1 thing per attack, right? So you can't wager 2 agilities. Only 1 agility wager can go on. I don't know. It makes me think that
we'll have to see the rules reprise.
It makes me think that you don't want to let it get to end game and let Olympia have a handful of blues, because he's going to throw the biggest sword attack at you ever.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I'll be looking at Olympia.
You gotta hold a whole hand to pull it off.
I think he's gonna be really fun. Well, I mean, not if you string them together somehow, and you've just
if you apply a consistent tempo, right? Consistent tempo, and eventually you just have it.
Can you imagine if you could pick these more than once, and then in your scenario you pick vigor, I don't know, whatever, how many times, and you just start your next turn with like 4 extra resources for free because you just decided to choose 4 vigors and plus 4.
What keeps you from choosing vigor 8 times?
That's what I'm saying. Just choose. Well, you have to choose Y once, right? So you choose agility once, you choose vigor 8 times, and you choose.
My guess is his weapon is a 2 cost 2. That was just a guess, right? So you
whatever.
You pitch 12 into it. You get to choose 10 modes. You choose vigor 8 times and the plus Y twice. You swing for 18, and then you get 8 vigors.
Oh, dude,
you get 8 vigors, and then the next turn, you get the up the ante again, and now you have.
No way they let
and now you have 12 pitch, and now you have 12.
There's no way that this is the way it works.
There's no way.
I know. This is why I'm saying it, because now with the 8 vigors, if you draw up the ante and a handful of blues again, you have three blues to pitch, so that's 9 pitch plus 8, so you have 17, and now you can pump 15 into the vigor tokens and do twice, and then you can swing your weapon for 32, and then when you draw the third up the ante, now you have 15 vigors and 9 pitch, and now you could shove 22 vigor. Actually, at this point, you just like do whatever the optimal one to push Y into Kano ranges.
Oh no! At this point, your opponent's dead.
Oh no, they're gonna come out with something that completely counters this, right? That's only fair. Okay,
The best part is,
dude, what if they messed up and it's only supposed to say you can only choose each one once?
Then it's going to be fixed in the rules reprise. It's going to be fixed.
If you can,
there's
if you
no
can pick
way.
this more than once, this feels insane. Because you can
that's like awakening level. There's no way they wouldn't make that mistake again.
This is an awakening level, but like if you pitch stack and the first up the ante hits, now if it doesn't hit and you give your opponent 6 vigor tokens, they probably block with their entire hand. They don't have anything to do with them anyway.
That's true. They can swing their weapon, I guess.
Yeah, they can swing rock.
It could. Oh, this is why rock was viable. We figured it out now.
Well, no, it's not playable in KO because KO only has one hand.
Yeah, that's true.
Weapon, so.
I do want to specify that rock can physically not be played in KO. As much as you'd like to, he can't hold it.
I was dying when I saw that he only has one hand.
This is nuts stuff. If that works the way it works. I literally, because you got to understand that Iron Song Determination exists, and so you could literally throw that down for free. The attack's gonna have Dominate, and if it comes in for
the text on the card often explains the card. It does not say you only choose each mode once, and there are other cards that have this, and it says choose this mode this many times. Yeah, no, right?
That is true. They might. This might be the. This is him. This is his resource dump. This is the card that literally says, "Hey, if that's the card in Arsenal, it's go time." Because
what if the errata? The errata is actually it's supposed to be a legendary specialization. They messed that up. Because I don't mind having like this, because this is on almost. This is just better than Singularity. If it reads like this is like Singularity on crack.
This is
I'm gonna hold back until we actually see what Joshua Scott says about this card. There's no way that's
dude. I just want to make like 8 vigor tokens in a single turn. That sounds awesome. or like 6 gold. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that gold, but I could try to draw my whole deck.
Well, man, speaking of gold, and I got to go run over now to see if Cash had moved at all, because you guys were wondering no other warrior cards.
You could run this.
Yeah, I need to know about that one.
Could you run this in Shiana?
It's a specialization. Yes.
Oh, I wonder if there's some broken dude. Final Act's not a specialization, is it?
Oh, with Mel.
Oh God, could you imagine if you could combine this with Final Act?
Final Act cares about
the amount of cards you've pitched. You know what's better than breaking a bunch of copper tokens? Breaking a bunch of gold.
Final Act is not a specialization.
Dang, dude, that would be so broken in Shiana.
That's probably why they did it. They thought ahead. They said no.
We did have one more new warrior card, right? Take the upper hand.
Yeah. It's an attack reaction.
Play this only if you've wagered this chain link. Target attack gets +3. So this is like
Iron Song response.
Yes, but you have control over it instead of your opponent having control over it. Yes. I don't like this card.
It's a 0 for 3. Warriors have a ton of 0 for 3s.
It's
nothing wrong with it.
It's the same reason I don't like Iron Song response, but it's a necessary evil in the deck, right?
But this is so for him. This is all his game plan. His literal thing is I throw attack, I say the word wager, and then I try and beat wager. Like that's what Olympian wants to do. It's really simple. Wager? It's like
do you think his weapon's gonna wager?
I don't know. I maybe he's got some cool. He looks like he's double one-handing, which I think is actually super cool.
Thing is, I don't think his weapon's gonna wager. I think just like Betsy, you're probably gonna have to use cards like bigger than big to give the weapon wager.
Yeah, you might have to use another card to let your weapon wager, which is probably why that attack that blue isn't as good as we think that is, because he's going to be trying to throw like 4 cost and 3 cost attacks, and he just won't have enough resources. I mean, you sink 6 into it, it's still a pretty big attack, but it's not astronomical on up the ante. I still think that if you can choose that mode more than once, there's a potential for it to be ridiculous, but we'll have to address that.
Awesome. I think it's great. I don't care about high powered cards.
I think he's going to be fun. I think it's a totally different flavor. I assume there's going to be some good weapon attack hybrid stuff, but it gets to stray away from that whole linear fashion of your weapon defining you as a warrior. Bolton, I think, gets away from that a lot. I'm not going to put Bolton in that, although he does have Combo and Raiden are both weapon focus. It's just he has a lot of pieces around it.
Yeah, he gets his value back that he loses charging with Raiden. It's still the charge mechanic.
It's
right?
still a weapon.
It's just Raiden allows him to refund that mechanic.
But you're not like Dory. Dory just says I have a weapon, and so this feels cool. I think all the warriors feel actually really, really fun. Well, the two warriors, I guess, but all the warriors feel pretty good. So I think it's a good day to be a warrior player. I think it's a great day to be a guardian and a brute player too. There are so many good things that are going out in the way the meta is working that I think a lot of these heroes are going to find absolute success. I mean, it might happen like Dusk Till Dawn where things fall short while they're still working kinks out or older heroes. But I honestly think that some of these heroes are poised to do very well.
I think this
looks like a fun set.
Yeah, the set itself in a vacuum is looking fun, and with their new
limit, it's going to be amazing.
Their new idea of every set is a core set. I don't mind there being chaff, right? Because you're buying packs. Yeah. The chaff has to say, hey, this has to be here to filter all the legendaries. You can't have a legendary in every pack. But I want fun things to do with my cards that are chaff, and this looks fun.
6 heroes, 6 different playstyles as far as I'm concerned. I think this is going to be a super exciting limited set. Think about how non-linear this is going to be when you go sit down across from your person and you're not playing the 66 Teklovas you've played today at your scrimmage. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're playing a warrior, brute, or a guardian, but you're like, I think they're going to play fundamentally different slightly. Obviously, Olympia's not going to play the same as Kasai. You know what I mean?
Yes.
KO probably won't play the same as the other brute. Which we haven't got the other brute, right? We're still waiting on.
Nope, we are still missing 2 heroes.
We're still missing the brute
and the other guardian.
Yeah.
My guess is we'll have a brute that interacts with the wager mechanic, and then we'll have a guardian that does not. AKA Valdo, right?
I'm excited.
Probably.
I'm pretty pumped. Now. It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
The limit's going to be
great.
We
were worried that we weren't going to have enough to talk about, but like we've ran late.
There was so much to talk about with these new heroes. Heavy hitters is already so exciting. I can't wait to see more.
The limited, man. This is going to be start theory crafting, guys. Start looking at some of these spoilers. Like my opinion, I think a lot of these early spoilers, because they're not going to give you the meat of the set. A lot of these early spoilers are directed towards something minus the heroes and stuff. And some of the main majestics towards a limited fashion. Like you just start getting an idea of what the cards are going to look like and how they're going to talk to each other and values and stuff like that. So if you're somebody who wants to jump early on limited and stuff, like start looking at these cards closely, how you feel. Where would you pick them if you'd pick them? I know you don't know what the other cards are, but there's a lot of decent information on how they want the cards to or the heroes to play, I think, so far.
And y'all stop freaking out and like buying rocks for $70. Quit that.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it still might come out and then everybody gets validated because the other brute just magically like no cards left.
Maybe.
No cards left. If you have no cards left in hand, activate this game 1 resource and every rock player in the world is just like, yes, it's happening. And so you just sit there crafting your entire game plan around how do I end with no cards and 2 every time, and that's it.
Yeah. I don't know about all that. We'll see. We'll see this weekend, right?
Spoiler season starts, right?
Well, no, the spoiler season doesn't start till January, but we see the last hero this weekend, I believe.
Well, there's 2 more heroes.
Or we see the next brute hero. I know. Hold on, I got the schedule right here.
Are we seeing another heroes already?
We get Friday, December 29th is Arsenal Pass's spoiler, and I thought it was supposed to be another hero, but maybe I'm wrong.
It probably is. I wouldn't put it past them. We'll see.
And then we don't have anything scheduled till Monday, January 15th after that.
Yeah, but that's when it starts to get into the
that's right before Calling Queenstown.
Yep.
That's when legendaries, you'll see it all. There'll be new warrior legendaries for Olympia. I'm calling it right now. There has to be.
We'll see.
Please, LSS, give me a warrior helm so I can complete my armor.
Brute gloves. Brute gloves.
Armor. Yeah, there will be brute gloves.
My guess is Mansant spoils brute gloves.
I mean, I've literally got no skin in this game, so I'm just gonna say, give me something cool for Betsy, I guess.
Yeah, but if you guys get gloves, your suite's gonna be insanity. Could you imagine Levi with another like 2 or 3 block? Come on.
Yeah, you can.
She
like
doesn't need it. I mean, I
darkness.
guess she gets 2 grasp. She gets 2 with grasp, but like she doesn't need it, man.
Okay.
You guys have too much of an armor suite.
Let's do our social media spiel. I'm Wet the System. You can find me on Twitter at Wet the System Fab. Everywhere else, you could usually find me with Wet the System.
Draco Hominus 87, just about everywhere on each of the social medias. Most active on Discord and Twitter. Look me up there, or you can find me as Donnie K on fabric.gg, where I write several different article series. The last one to come out was Battling Burnout, and the next one is going to be, I think, the 15th. I'll have to go back and double check the schedule, but the next one's going to be coming out. It's going to be a another UPF brew, this time with Professor Techlo Daddy. So look for that around middle of January.
Techlo Daddy, yeah.
Techlo Dad and the Fab Dad. I like it. I'm Big Max at Big Max Fab on Twitter. Twitch.tv/Loots of Heavy. Those are 2 places to find me. Discord on Big Max as well. Pretty much Big Max is the handle. But yeah, that's it.
Yep, and you can find us on Twitter at Sick Crew, SICCREW, and we're on YouTube, always in the live channels as Siblings and Cardboard. Usually that's Donnie doing that.
And it's coming too. There will be YouTube streams. I'm finishing some intros and some panels and stuff. They're gonna look sweet. We'll get it up and running.
Yeah, definitely when we start
doing
playtesting heavy hitters, that should be streamed. And I plan to stream.
100. I plan to stream.
I regret not.
The seasonal, yeah.
I regret not streaming my Dio playtests because I feel like there could have been a lot more hype for her seeing it, roll out as hard as it did.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Oh well.
Okay.
Lots of good things to come.
And yeah, I guess thank you to our patrons. There's a couple of you. We really appreciate the support. And
thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Have a safe New Year. And yeah, if you want to support us, you can support us easily by just subscribing or interacting with any of our social media channels, and we really appreciate that.
For sure.
Until next time, take
love.
care of yourselves, and remember, we're all siblings in cardboard.
Bye, guys. Don't drink too much. Discard your cards. You're never too drunk to discard them.
Yep.